Hello everyone, welcome to Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services. This is a video on monthly policy review, also known as MPR. And monthly policy review is being released monthly by the PRS Legislative Research. I'm discussing PRS for the month, that is PRS MPR for the month of September 2022. So before I begin, a brief about the PRS Legislative Research. This was founded in 2005 as an independent research institute, and the main aim of the PRS Legislative Research is to strengthen the legislative process by making it better informed and more transparent. This is based in New Delhi. It's assessed the Member of Parliament. For more details, you can check out their website also. And before I start this session, those of you who are new to our channel, do not forget to subscribe Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services on YouTube. If you like this video, if you find this video informative and helpful, do not forget to press a like button. Starting with the first topic, that is the National Logistic Policy 2022. This policy is very important for examination purposes. This is relevant for both prelims as well as for the mains examination. A direct question can be asked from this particular topic. So recently, the Department of Promotion of Industries and Internal Trade has notified the National Logistic Policy 2022. So you need to understand what is the purpose of this policy, what it policy seeks to do. So this policy seeks to provide a framework for the development of logistic ecosystem our country. Talking about India precisely, the logistic has been there in part of the development, but after this policy formulation, it will give more impetus in terms of development of the logistic ecosystem. Logistic include the transportation and the handling of good, storage, valuation and the elite services. कुछ की फीचर्स की अगर बात करें इस पर्टिकुलर बिल की जो आपके एग्जामिनेशन पर्पस के लिए भी रेलेवेंट है एंड ऑल्दो यू नीड टू नो व्हाट आर द की फीचर्स. So first, there are some target that has been set under this bill. So what this policy aims to achieve is following. First, it aims to reduce the logistic cost to the comparable global benchmark, that is by 2030. This is the timeline that has been decided by government to ensure that there is a comparable global benchmark across the globe. Now, improve India's ranking in the Logistic Performance Index, that is called LPI. UPSC ने इस पे questions भी पूछे हुए, do check it out. Which among the following organization releases this, right? So, improve ranking of India in the LPI Logistic Performance Index to be among the top 25 countries by 2030. Now, create a data-driven decision to support the mechanism. These are some of the primary aims and targets that is envisaged under this bill. Basically, the national policy. Now, this policy called for the reductions in the logistic cost. So talking about the logistic costs are planned to be reduced and improve efficiency in transport, warehouses, inventory management, and regulatory matters. The improvement in the transport is envisaged through the increment in the efficient through the multimodal infrastructure. See, for logistic, it is very important for a country like India to have a multimodal infrastructure. Still, we are not that equipped, but we have a substantial presence in terms of the infrastructure. Sectoral plan for the efficient logistic is again something that has been envisaged through this particular policy. The policy seeks to develop a warehouse with optimal spatial planning that called facilitating the private investment. Government will definitely seek for triple P model in this particular segment, which has an endeavor for the development. Now, inventory management is sought to be improved through the reliable supply chain by promoting the digitalization. So digitalization in this context is inevitable. This has to be done in a context to have a state-of-art technology. The monitoring and coordination is another important aspect. So the empowered group of secretaries set up under the Prime Minister Gati Shakti National Master Plan will be monitoring the implementations of the national logistic policy. This is again the single important point for the prelims examination. Now, the Empower Group will set up a service improvement group for monitoring and improvement in the processes, regulations, digitalization in the logistics sectors. Now, the other topic, that is the Draft Indian Telecommunication Bill 2022. So recently, the Department of Telecommunications has released the Draft India Communications Bill for the public feedback. And this draft bill seeks to replace the Indian Telegraph Act of 1885, Indian Wireless Act of 1993, Telegraph Wireless Unlawful Possession Act 1950. So make sure to remember this three laws which has been recently replaced under the bill. The act regulate the telecom services, possession of telecom equipments and laying of the telecom networks. कुछ की फीचर्स की अगर बात करें इस पर्टिकुलर बिल की, so license for the telecom network and services. The central government will have an exclusive power. So the central government has the exclusive right and prerogative to establish, operate and maintain the telecom network, provide telecom services, and it may also grant a license. So this is again an important point. This is kind of a conceptual question that is relevant for the examination for the prelims purposes. Now, entities to carry out this activities, क्या activities allowed होंगी entities को? The bill defined that the telecom operator, right, or the TSP, that the telecom service provider, may be available for the telecommunications. This include the fixed line mobile, internet, broadcasting, satellite communications, machines to machine communications, email, right, over the top communications or video voice messaging services जो है over internet will be there in the part of the activities. Spectrum assignment की अगर बात करें, spectrum may be assigned through auctions or the administrative auctions in the case of the government functions for the purpose concerning the public interest or necessity. This include the spectrum for the BSNL and MTNL and the Prasar Bharati, that is Bharat Sanchar Nigam Limited, Mahanagar Telecom Nigam Limited and the Prasar Bharati. Also, it will include disaster management, safety in the transport system, weather forecasting, space research, and community radio station. So this is on the part of the spectrum assignment. Public safety and national security is another important aspect in this. So the central government or the state government may have a stand on taking the temporary positions on the telecom services or a network. So this power will be there both for the central government as for the state government, right? Now to direct certain messages and communications of a person to be intercepted and share with them and their communications to be suspended. So this is a power that is there under this bill. Now this will apply in case of the public emergency, safety, and there should be necessary in the interest of the national security, foreign relations, public order, prevention of the offences. तो अगर इन तीनों कंडीशंस में कहीं पे भी कंडीशन अराइज होती है कि उस पर्टिकुलर सर्विसेज को कम्युनिकेशंस को इंटरप्ट करनी है, स्टॉप करनी है, बोथ द सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट एज द स्टेट गवर्नमेंट आर एम्पावर्ड टू डू सो. Now the draft will provide for the framework for right of way of laying the telecommunication infrastructure, regulation of restructuring, insolvency, payment default in the telecom sector, and also for the telecom development fund. Now RBI releases guideline on digital lending. The Reserve Bank of India has recently come up with a guideline on the digital lending, which is again very important, that give a roadmap to the digital lending in our country. The guideline will be applicable for all the digital loans extended to the regulated entities, including the commercial bank, urban cooperative banks, state cooperative banks, and NBFC. जो भी नॉन बैंकिंग फाइनेंशियल कंपनीज हैं उन पे भी एप्लीकेबल होंगी. Now, what are the salient features of this guideline that was released by the RBI? So disclosure of borrower is again that has to be taken into consideration. The regulated entities shall provide a key fact statement of the borrowers before the loan contract is executed, and their statements shall include the information on annual percentage rate, that is the cost of digital loan for the borrowers, recovery mechanism किस तरह से होगी, grievance redressal officers कौन होंगे, any fee charges not to be the part of statement cannot be charged or regulated through the entities. Now the digital lending application should be predominantly displayed information such as features, loan limits, and the cost. Now credit worthiness is again something an important point. Regulated entities shall capture the economic profile of the borrowers before extending the loan, and there shall be no automatic increase in the credit limit without explicit consent of the borrower for every such increase, right? So the consent has to be there from the borrower end. Data protection is again an important aspects. Right to privacy, which Supreme Court has already advocated for, is somewhere applicable here also. So any data collected by the regulated entity should be needed based with the prior consent of the borrower and should not have an audit trial. Right? Audit trial के लिए इसमें मनाही की गई है. Digital lending applications should desist from asserting mobile phone data such as media, contact list, and the call logs. And explicit consent of the borrowers had been taken before sharing any personal information with a third party, except in the case where done is done for the statutory or regulatory requirement. This is the important point. अगर किसी भी regulatory या फिर statutory purposes के लिए share करनी है government के साथ, then you will not be asked. But अगर कोई भी third party, suppose आपने कोई consumer durable loan लिए, right? Or you just avail any of the loan, either it is car, consumer durable, तो वहाँ पे third party के साथ information शेयर की जाती है, चाहे वो credit card से लेकर के हो, even for insurance. So these details will not be shared before you make the consent, right? Your consent is mandatory to share the details. Grievance redressal is an important component here. So regulated entities should ensure that they have a nodal grievance officers to deal with the digital lending related complaints. And if the complaint is lodged, it has not resolved, it has to be resolved within 30 days. Then the complaint will be there with the Reserve Bank integrated ombudsman scheme, which is there, which is already active, and you can reach out to this RBI ombudsman scheme. Now, amendments to the Juvenile Justice Care and Protection of Child Model Rule 2016. The Ministry of Women and Child Development has notified amendments to the Juvenile Justice Care Protection Model Rule 2016, and rule has been notified under the Juvenile Justice Care and Protection of Child Act 2015 actually, right? And states may adopt these rules to implement the provisions of the act. कुछ की अमेंडमेंट्स की अगर बात करें जो इस बिल में इन्विसाज की गई है. Membership of the Child Welfare Committee. The rule provides that the chairman and member of the CWC, that is the Child Welfare Committee, will be above 35 years of age, and qualification has been prescribed. The first qualification is a minimum service of experience working with the various fields such as education and health, practicing professional with a degree of child psychology, retired judicial officer. The amendment add a maximum age of limit 65 years for the chairperson and the members. Second is the grievance against the CWC. The amendment add that any grievance against the functioning of the CWC may be filed with an affected child before the district magistrate, right? District magistrate will be the nodal person who will take care of this, and grievance shall be disposed of within 30 days. Apart from district magistrate, ADM is also an individual who can look into the matter. Adaptations related reporting. So the CWC basically the CWC, that is the working committee, will provide a data on children declaring legal free and adaptations and the cases pending to the decision to the Central Adaptation Resource Authority, जिसे कारा भी कहते हैं. The amendment adds that the CARA will provide such information on monthly basis, which will be updated to the district magistrate and the district administration. Such information also provide to the DM after reviewing the information shall take measures to expedite the process of adoption of child. तो यहाँ कोशिश की जाएगी कि जो पूरी process है उसको fast किया जाए so that the entire process take place at the earliest. Reports on regulated and control of the medical devices. The Standing Committee on Health and Family Welfare presented a report on the medical devices regulation and control. So what are the observations that was made by the committee? We'll look into that. So first, the committee has called for the domestic manufacturing, that is the indigenous manufacturing. 80% of the requirement of the medical devices in India is met by import. We import most of our medical goods from countries like China and many other countries in the Western world. The committee observed that the Indian medical devices industry is facing a severe challenge. That is first for the inadequacy of indigenous research and development, lack of qualified manpower, non-availability of finances, and high manufacturing cost, which is making the units, or you can say the instrument, more costly. Some recommendations that was given by the committee. The committee has recommended the following. First is to provide incentives for the domestically manufactured products in the government procurement. Second, it calls that the Department of Pharmaceuticals should establish a dedicated corpus for startup and undertaking research and development in medical devices. And third, that is starting research linked incentives for academic institutions to promote research and development. The other recommendations that was given is to help for the medical devices to park their efficiency. This include dedicated offices for skilled and unskilled laborers, effluent treatment plants, and subsidized power and water. So this all recommendation is very important for your examination. Suppose if you're writing in mains paper specifically, तो आपको ये सारे points वहाँ पे highlight करने पड़ेंगे. Now, efficient testing infrastructure. The committee noted that the country has only 18 certified medical device laboratory that is approved by the Drug Standard Controller Organization, and it recommended setting up of accredited laboratories across the country which call for the local manufacturers in their product for the standard, right? So this is how we can improve our testing infrastructure. Now, reports on the development of man-made fibers. The Standing Committee on Labor, Textile and Skill Development submitted its report on the development of man-made fibers. What are the observations and recommendations that were there by the committee? First, it called for the Indian fiber export. India is the second largest manufacturer of the man-made fiber. This is a point to be noted. However, it ranks 6th in the share of the global export. Now, the sector faces challenges that affects the export competitiveness. क्या-क्या ऐसी factors है जो हमारे export को impact कर रही हैं, degrade कर रही हैं? That include the tariff barriers, anti-dumping duties, high cost funding, increased competitions from other countries such as Bangladesh and Vietnam. So this is again a very important point that you can highlight. The committee recommended the ministries for the textile diversification and man-made fibers product basket to attain the higher level of export. Textile value chain की अगर बात करें, the textile industry value chain have several challenges which include the low capacity utilization. This is the first challenge. Second is the low production efficiency. Third is the high attrition rate. And fourth, that is the unavailability of skilled workforce. So definitely government need to work on all these vertical to improve the overall efficiency. The committee recommended that ministry launch skilling program to augment the textile value chain in coordination with the Ministry of Skill Development. Now, taxations of the raw material is again an important component. So raw material is 12%, man-made fiber is 5%, and yarn comprise of 12%. Our taxes are the different slab. The committee noted that the differential rate or intervened duty structure hinders the industry, that duty must be rationalized. तो यहाँ पे rationalization की भी recommendations दी गई हैं अलग-अलग raw materials के लिए. Now, draft National Electricity Plan on Generation. So the Central Electricity Regulatory Authority has released a draft electricity plan for public feedback. C is required to formulate the national electricity plans once in every 5 years. So every 5 years they have to make a plan. And the draft plan provides for the review of the last 5-year capacity, additional requirement and projects for the period of 2027 to 2032. The draft plan projects the electricity generations of 2,674 units with the draft, and most of the basically has to come from thermal power followed by the renewable. 51% from thermal and 44% renewable energy. कुछ key highlights की अगर बात करें इस particular bill की. Current installed capacity as of March 2022, the current installed capacity in the country is 4 lakh megawatt. Coal, renewable energy resources and nuclear constitute 51, 39 and 2. This is for the coal, renewable energy and the nuclear basically resources to the installed capacity respectively. तो ये numbers भी data काफी relevant है. Generations capacity and additional basically this is for 2017 and 22. The capacity additional target is around that could be achieved with the primary due to COVID-19 pandemic. This target was already slowed due to the lockdown and restrictions. Now, as per the National Electricity Plan of 2018, the target for the conventional sources was about 550,000 megawatt, right? However, the capacity additional could be achieved through about 30,000 megawatt. That is a target set for the 60%. Required capacity additions, this is for 2022 and 27. 2.3 lakh megawatt of the additional capacity needed to be adopted to meet the peak demand of the energy requirement by 2026 and 27. And solar as a source will be the major contributors, followed by the wind, coal and hydro. So government is also looking forward with all this initiative that can contribute in our energy. Now, contributions of renewable energy in the generation, that is for 2026 and 7 and 31 and 32. So according to the CE's policy, the National Solar Mission, the PM Kusum, and the declining cost of the renewable energy technology will make the renewable energy more source in the energy mix of the country. So government is already inclined. We have Paris climate change target, and even during the COP26 meeting, the government has envisaged that India will be more towards renewable energy resources. Now, the draft plan for the renewable energy will increase from 25% to 36% in the total energy by 2026 and 27, and further the government target to increase it by 45%, that is by 2032. So this is what the target has been set by the government. Need for additional coal-based capacity beside the under construction. The coal-based capacity is 25,000 megawatt, and the country may need for the additional coal-based requirement up to 28,000 megawatt by the year end, that is by 2031 and 32. So this was all about for the MPR for the month of September. We have a lot more other initiatives for you, like daily news and editorial analysis, which I covered from the Hindu plus Indian Express. IS Gazette की मैगजीन आप हमारे IS ज्ञान की वेबसाइट से डाउनलोड कर सकते हैं. FCA is there, PIB, MPR, which I'm discussing, and Gist of Yojana and Kurukshetra has already been released. You can check out this in our playlist section. So these all initiatives will definitely help you to sail through the journey of civil services. If you have any other concern, you can let me know. I'll be more than happy to assist you. For time being, I'm signing off. Thank you so much for watching this video.